11 to 10. Matt, getting back to local things and the water situation. I mentioned this morning that the dam, we said yesterday the dam had fallen 1%. We're saying on Monday it was 4. Yesterday we said it was 3. And I thought, hang on, can't drop it. So I went to start looking. The dam is actually at 3.9%.
Yeah.
The allocation of water in the dam at the present time is 46.3 gigalitres. We use 6.4 gigalitres a year. This is in Dubbo. So 6 into 46 roughly is 7 years of water.
Yeah, it's not quite as simple as that because you do lose a bit evaporation.
Evaporation, yeah.
You lose a bit in transmission. But I think the other part, the really important part here is that we use, as you say, 6, I normally say just in round terms, Dubbo uses around 7 gigs, just to be round numbers, 7 gigs a year.
And to be...
to go over a little bit.
The evaporation, all that sort of business.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 7 gigs a year. We have an allocation of approximately 8 gigs from the river, but also we have an allocation of 4 gigs
from the bore.
Yeah, 3.85 to be exact, but let's round it to 4 just to make it easy. So we've got in water licences from Water New South Wales 12 gigs of licences. Now, they have said that local water utility licences are back to only 80% of your allocation.
Yeah.
If you've got high security, it's 70%, but local water utilities are better than that. They've got 80%. So we've got 8 gigs. 8 to 64, so we've got about 6.4 gigs of river and 4 gigs of bore. So we've got about 10.4 gigs of water licences and we've got usage of, say, 7. So we should have no problems at all. In fact, we could be on full water, no restrictions whatsoever. Now, if you go back to the 2015 Drought Management Plan, which is the current plan, when you go onto the Drought Hub on the Dubbo Regional Council website and click on Drought Management Plan, the one that was approved, put on public exhibition, approved by councillors in 2015 is the plan that they're using.
Yes,
now,
that's
in
right.
that plan, it talks about when various levels of water restrictions should be triggered. So that there's a document there so that the staff don't need to go back to the councillors. It's already been approved by councillors, so they can just do it based on that document. On that document, if we're at 100% of bore and 70% or better of water from the river, then we should be on level 1. Yeah. So level 4 is way over the top compared to the amount of water we've been allocated from both the river and from our bores. And even if the river ran dry, which is a ridiculous scenario, the talk is that if we had 0 rain in the 13,900 square kilometre area of the catchment area for Burrendong Dam, and then the additional catchment of the Macquarie River where we run down to here, if there was 0 rain across all of that, I'm talking about a couple of millimetres, I'm talking about 0 rain, by November next year, so 12 months away, so that would be 0 rain for 12 months, unprecedented, then we would get to the point where our river has stopped running. We've still got a weir pool that we'd use, and then we've still got 4 gigs underground.
That's right.
So for a city that uses 7 gigs, using 4, yeah, that'd be a bit tight. So yeah, we'd have to be on pretty tight water restrictions. But that's a year away before we get to that point.
And
it's cruelling businesses and it's cruelling our reputation. That's my main concern. Our reputation at the moment across the entire nation. I've got friends in Melbourne, I've got friends in Sydney. I've read information from people out of Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane where people are not coming to Dubbo, they're not staying in motels, they're not visiting because they think there's no water here.
Well, I tried to clear that up with Alan Jones this morning when he spoke with me on 2GB and tried to clear that up with him as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And Buy from the Bush campaign, or Buy in the Bush campaign. And I tried to get the message across. We've got plenty of water in Dubbo, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and of course Alan was only here recently. He was out here for a function a couple of months ago.
And they're coming back, and they're coming back.
Yeah, good.
And I offered the studios here for him to do his broadcast.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I got no reply there. I think I know. I think they'll be going to another radio station. But anyway, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. But I mean, the bottom line is, people need to know in Sydney that we have plenty of water.
Yeah, that's right.
And the thing is that let's be fair. These water restrictions, level 4, have been placed there by the state government.
Well, no, they haven't. There was a letter that came from the state government, but the council is control of that. So the council.
Well, okay, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, the state government, politically, are saying, oh well, other towns RS, we're not, but we better just join the crowd and make it look good. Well, and council have sort of fallen into line with that.
Well, that's right. They need to stand up for this community. I mean, Gilgandra isn't on water restrictions. Mudgee, which is basically using the water from Windermere, it comes across to Burrendong Dam. So they're over there using that water and they're only on level 1. So realistically, what you've got to do is you've got to stand up for this community. And if the state government says you should be on something, you say, well, if you want me on that, make me. Otherwise, we'll stand to what our policy, our current policy is.
Yeah, and the other thing is with water restrictions, as you know and I know very well, basically, when you have water restrictions, people use more water.
That's right. They go to town.
Because you've got to. Oh, we've got to water today because we can't water tomorrow. We're not allowed.
Yeah.
And psychologically, they use more water.
And the other quick one worth mentioning is it was brought to my attention by a number of people actually about grey water being used on our sporting fields. And I know you've been talking about that, and you've had an example from, for example, your sister, an incident that happened many years ago. But what concerned me, when actually the first phone call I got about it, I said, I don't believe you. I said, it wouldn't be grey water signs. We haven't got grey water in Dubbo to use on our fields. Individuals can use it on their house garden, and there's certain regulations there. And then someone told me it was going via the sprinklers. And I said, well, it can't be grey water. Grey water, if you read the New South Wales government guidelines, has to be subsurface irrigation, has to be 100 millimetres under the surface. And then I went down to have a look because I didn't actually believe some of the people telling me about grey water signs.
So did I. Went and had a look as well, yeah.
And sure enough, here are all these grey water in use signs, and I couldn't understand that. So I put some information on Facebook and asked a few questions, and I got some fairly vitriolic responses from some of the councillors telling me or giving me the Spanish Inquisition for daring to ask a question, and that seems to be the attitude of this council, is that you can't dare ask a question.
Let me just reinforce you on that one. Ask a question. If I ask a question now, I get the runaround and I never get an answer.
Well,
I imagine I'm going to get criticised for what I've said about the dam this morning.
Yeah, and it seems ridiculous. This is our council. We're all part of the community. We should be able to ask questions. But I actually got a response, not from councillors yesterday, but I got a response from the official Dubbo Regional Council Facebook page. So I don't know who's that, some nameless face behind that. And they said, yes, you are correct. We do not use any grey water in Dubbo on the field. So all those signs that were put up are all wrong. So I would call it lying or misleading the community. So they're all wrong. So they've now started replacing those signs. And I've got
I don't know whether it's lying. I just say it was ignorance.
No, I think it's misleading. If you're going to put a sign up that says grey water
it is misleading. But
yeah.
The person who put them up, or the council put them up, surely it's ignorance, isn't it?
Well, someone had to authorise that.
Yeah.
And ultimately the mayor is responsible for decisions made by council. The mayor is in charge of council. So the mayor and councillors have to be responsible for what happens, good, bad or indifferent. They're the ones that are ultimately in charge. Yeah. But ultimately they've changed the signs now. And I don't understand, Richard, why we needed the signs in the first place, why the expense of all those signs. We didn't need to have, and there's so many of them, they're a couple of metres apart, some of these signs that say grey water in use, the next one says bore water in use, they're a bit confused, then it says recycled water in use. Well, what is it? But I don't know why we needed the expense of all those signs, and if you're going to put them all up, get them right. So now they're taking down all the grey water in use signs because that was completely wrong. And so again, people are confused and concerned and don't have a lot of trust in this council, and the latest community needs survey that said the councils have a 26% approval rating.
That's
I think
right.
that'll be even lower now.
Well, actually, and I got criticised for talking about the 26% approval rate on this radio station, soundly criticised, including letters.
And any good business that says, let's get some feedback from the community, when they hear that community feedback, they take it on board and try and change things. This council just abuses.
Okay, mate. Good talking with you.
Thanks, mate.
We're way over time, folks.
Sorry.
But I hope you found it interesting, and I hope that it's cleared up a few matters, because really and truly, at the moment, people are confused.
Confused.
Very, very confused. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Richard.